Okay, so today I'm going to be showing you how to use the new Blur 2.0. So what you're going to do is go to the GitHub, link in the description. You're going to get the latest release. And if you have any sort of questions or anything, you don't know what anything does, anything like that, there is a, on their GitHub, uh, basically tells you what everything is and what it does and stuff like that. So that's very useful as well. Anyways, once you get into actual Blur, we're going to reset the defaults. Okay, so this is what it comes with out of the box, everything like that. You have blur amount, output FPS, blur weighting. These are all the exact same that we should all be used to. But if you're new and don't know anything about this program, basically what it does is it takes a base FPS that you record in. So it could be 60, 120, 360, 480, anything like that. And it will either interpolate it to 1200 or whatever you want the slider here to be, or you can do it by scaling the FPS and then it'll be on a multiplier, right? Anyway, so that's that. I would recommend, and I think 99% of the people would recommend, that you need a good base FPS before you do any sort of interpolation. Meaning, if you're going to interpolate from 60 FPS, it's just not going to look good. If you interpolate from something like 360, which is what this video is recorded in, it will look a lot better, and it'll be what you call it, like less mistakes, kind of less artifacting and stuff like that, right? So that's that. You have your interpolation method. Like I said, this is just going to be on default, but for what I think most Minecrafters are going to use, default will be pretty much fine. Okay. When you're making a custom config to what you want, using the GitHub will be very useful, because it tells you everything that you want to do, and going off of that is where you can make your config, right? I think default's fine. I like, the only thing I think I would change, probably make the blur weighting to maybe Gaussian or anything like that, but I think equal fine. I wouldn't mess with anything here. Me personally, and if you want to, if you think it looks better, whether more or less or whatever, anything like that. For YouTube videos, just leave it at 60. But if you're doing clips, think 120 embeds on Discord now. I don't quote me on that, but you can play around with this, right? I would probably maybe switch between these two, just depending on what I like. That's probably what I would change. I wouldn't change this. I think Rife is more accurate, my understanding, but I think it's also slower too. So I just use SVP. Everything here seems to be the exact same. Encoding preset. This is also something I would probably change if I want it to be in AVC or H.264 or HEVC, or also known as H.265. I would probably, if I was doing clips for YouTube, me personally, I would probably do H.265. But if I'm doing clips for Discord or anything, or just keeping it on my computer, H.264 is fine. Quality, I would not mess with this. I'm recording in 18CQ, so this being 16 is probably fine. If I were to adjust it, it'd probably be 18, 14, 15, but 16 is just fine, so I'm going to leave it there. Preview, it could be nice, but it's up to you if you want to turn it on or off. These also, I don't think anyone would, unless you really care about it, then sure, why not? GPU decoding, interpolation, and encoding. All of these should be on by default because it will just be faster that way. Obviously, GPU type NVIDIA, and Rife GPU as 4070, right? Now, when you go to advanced, I haven't looked at these all that much, but we're going to take a look here. These are just kind of more tuning, fine tuning settings. I do believe this is also do with creating your own config to get it to look exactly like you want it to. But I think most people using Blur are going to be fine with just the installation, right? But these options here are available if you want that. I can actually give you an example. So the custom FFmpeg filters, I can go to Discord, right? I can go to CTT. I can scroll down to the blur section. I can find filters right here. So this is HEVC NVENC or H.264 NVENC. I'll just copy this one, go back into Blur, Copy it like that. Then up here, it says GPU encoding overridden by custom MPEG filters. So this is how you would use filters if that's what you would do. But I'm not going to use filters because I don't want to use any advanced options because I don't really care for it. The most I would use advanced for is fine tuning. But like I said, I personally think just interpolating the FPS with a low amount is what I would use it for. I guess another realistic scenario you can say is I use Huzuni. When he was recording with shaders, he would interpolate his FPS so it looked a little bit better because he was low FPS output. But you could see some artifacting in there, stuff like that. I don't think anyone cared, but that's just, you know, how it goes, right? So anyway, when you're done with your config, everything like this that you want to do it, you are going to go back and you're open up a video. I have here's just the swinging animation. I personally. So you throw it in there. And as you can see, the blur is working. You can see the blur there, and you can also see when it's going to be done and how many frames per second it's going to be out of whatever. Okay. So when it says it's complete, there's the render. You'll go and look at the blur. And you can tell that it's obviously blur. And this actually doesn't look that bad. It might look bad at first, but like considering what it's being interpolated to, I don't think it's that bad, right? So there's that. Check the details and anything like that. 20 and 60, all that stuff, right? If you go in here, config, say your Mac, save, make sure you save your settings. Why nothing changed. You can rename this to C. Completed. I was in the config. See it. Now this is 120. So if you check this details, there's the 120 at blur 2.0 or 2.0. Look at that. It looks a lot smoother than it would normally. Look at that. How smooth that is. Oh man, that looks good. This is just a normal one. Holy cow. Looks good. So yeah, anyway, for most people, I think the default settings should be fine. I believe before this update, because I'm playing around with this, or I believe there was a couple things you had to change, meaning GPU encoding and all this stuff was off by default. You had to manually select it. Pretty sure. But yeah, I personally like default because, like I said, the only thing I'm going to use is the installation, so that's fine. But yeah, that's how you use Blur 2.0.